Good evening and welcome to the April meeting of the Warren Town Council. At this time, I would like to ask Jan Malik to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. If you could just give me one moment of silence. One of our former police chiefs' wife died for Peggy Parada. We have a moment of silence, please. Okay, first we have the public comment period. If you have something you want to say, please come up. We can't take any action on it tonight, but we can certainly take it under consideration. So that being said, is there anyone that would like to address us during the public comment period? Oh, we have a list. Okay. Does anyone want to come up? I have a list here. Okay, please come up, state your name and your address.
Hello, everyone. My name is Kathleen Hancock. Hello, my name is Kathleen Hancock and I live at 14 Washington Street. And I'm with my friends. Yes, okay. I'm just going to read something very quickly to you. On behalf of my Washington Street neighbors, Polly Holmes, Lisa Martins, and Peggy Schwartz, I thank you for placing our letters and documentation regarding the seasonal noise disruptions from La Piñata, the restaurant on the corner of Crode and Main Streets, into the correspondence. And we thank you for the opportunity to talk to the town council about the broader issue of amplified music and its impact on communities. Warren has several areas where restaurants and residential neighborhoods abut. That is not unusual, and it is one of the many draws of village life. Each of us lives here because we want the quality of life towns like Warren offer. And that concept of quality of life is woven into the town ordinances. It is an acknowledgement that excessive sound impacts the health and well-being of communities and is a deterrent to the prosperity and quiet enjoyment residents of Warren have every right to expect. This expectation is that the rules apply to all, including businesses who wish to entertain their customers with amplified outdoor music. Sound waves carry across distances, bounce off of hard structures, or are channeled vibrationally through asphalt. And we know that measuring sound at the source is not always effective when sound is amplified in other ways. It is our hope that the town will reconsider the way it awards outdoor amplified music permits and that it will institute or include a mandate to businesses that they must provide ample sound abatement means, such as fencing or hedges of greenery or sound containment structures such as a small band shell, or orient speaker direction inward and curtail bass amplification. These measures and others will reduce the impact on the health and well-being of their residential neighbors. Thank you.
Just for support, okay. Councilman DePasquale, you possibly wanted to pull it. That's the exact letter we got in correspondence.
Right.
Do you want to talk about it now or do you want to pull it back in correspondence?
I think we should not hold up the public comment period, but since I wanted to make sure that their concern was aired publicly. And I also wanted to pull the correspondence letter in case the owners of La Piñata show up, and not at this time, but later on in the meeting would have the opportunity to hear your concerns and at least publicly let their position be known.
Thank
You're
you.
welcome.
Okay, there is one more name on the list, but I spoke to him and it's probably be more appropriate. He's going to talk when that agenda item comes up.
Can I just ask a question?
Absolutely.
Councilman DePasquale, are you aware that the people from La Piñata might show up tonight? Oh,
I didn't notice him in the back. No, I this afternoon I made a point of asking the clerk to reach out. I wasn't sure. So if they would like to speak during the public comment period, that would be fine. I mean, it's encouraged instead of, do you want to sit here all night to wait to the correspondence, which is at the end of the meeting? Okay.
Okay.
I mean, right. But it's totally up to you. I just wanted to pull the correspondence later in the meeting in case you were here. I mean, we're not taking any action, but if you would like to report your side of the situation, that would be appreciated, I'm sure.
Hello,
Hello.
Hello.
good evening. Well, this is well, I'm trying to do everything like whatever I can, so I don't bother anybody, neighbors especially. So I just got I was just asking all my neighbors around, there's the music, and no one complained about it. The library, the bank, I mean, the closest business around. Late, I mean, you guys are, we're next door. The music is on right now, and there's nothing to hear about it. So I mean, I don't even know what to say to them.
Yeah.
Well,
There are no violations. The police have no violations. So there's no violation of the entertainment license. Basically, if you could just pay attention, if you don't have anybody sitting outside, maybe turn the music down, but just pay attention.
Well, no.
You know, we have no violations against you. You have done nothing wrong. Just maybe be a little bit more conscientious. If you don't have anybody sitting outside, maybe turn it down until somebody comes outside. Little things like that, maybe to help address the situation.
Oh yeah, no, that basically just, I don't know, last week I only put the tables outside and.
well, this isn't a council action.
Uh-huh.
So what we're giving you is simple advice, which we can do. And you may or may not have known your neighbors who are here and just spoke. So I think this would be a good opportunity to introduce yourself and at least hear what they're saying, because their concerns are valid. And if there were a problem, you would be here in a different format. So I think the opportunity for communication is here, and they've reached out and you're here. So I think that would be a good opportunity for you to at least introduce yourself to them and see what you can do on your own to listen to their concerns.
Yeah,
Because I know you're a hardworking guy and your business, you're trying to do well. But if they're valid hearing loudness, what they perceive as loudness,
Okay.
I think it's an opportunity to come together.
Yeah,
So,
So are we discussing this right now?
no,
No,
no
we
action.
can't take any action. We
I
just,
understand, I just,
we're addressing the comments in the public area.
because I understand you reached out to your neighbors, the bank across the street, which is closed at night, so obviously they're not gonna be affected, the libraries are gonna be affected, but, you know, some of your surrounding neighbors are directly affected. You know, I happen to live in a neighborhood and I can hear music, it doesn't bother me, I'm a couple of blocks away, but I can hear it. And depending on the exact acoustics, sometimes how the music reverberates from hard objects goes right into the neighborhood, especially the bass. And so it's
okay,
It
so
can
this
be
is when I have the guy playing outside, like the live music.
Well, I would probably, Diego, take the opportunity to talk to them,
Yeah, okay.
because right now, it's not a council action.
Mhm.
So there isn't a violation on record, but your neighbors are bringing this forward publicly,
Mhm.
letting us and the community know. So as a business owner, I think it would be a good opportunity to speak to them directly and see what their concerns are.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm want to work with everybody. I want to, you know,
Well, that's
whatever
good.
I do.
I
whatever
think
can
hopefully
do,
that's
work
what-
everybody.
I think
Yeah.
that's what they're hoping would
Yeah, no,
come from
okay,
this.
yeah.
So
Okay,
good luck.
All right.
thank you.
You go back to work.
Oh, they left?
Oh, well. All right, next we have 4 proclamations, which I am going to read into the record.
All right. Go back to work.
Okay.
Bye.
The first proclamation is for Earth Day, and it states, whereas the Council of the Town of Warren recognizes that the first Earth Day in 1970 was the beginning of the modern environmental movement, which emphasized the value of a cleaner environment. Whereas Earth Day has become a worldwide event and that has highlighted some of our most critical environmental issues. Whereas Rhode Island's citizens in general and Warren residents in particular have demonstrated commitment to environmental conservation and have encouraged environmental action from leaders to protect our bountiful natural assets. Whereas it is our common responsibility to clean our environment and protect it from degradation. Whereas in 2022, Earth Day is on April 23rd, and in Warren, the Earth Day celebration cleanup activities will take place on April 23rd, 2022. Resolved that the Council of the Town of Warren supports this 30th year of Warren Conservation Commission's Earth Day celebration activities in Warren and other activities on a statewide, national, and global level. And be further resolved that we encourage Warren residents to participate in neighborhood cleanups, educational activities, and celebrations connected with Warren's Earth Day celebration. Next, we have a
Motion to approve.
motion, thank you, Joe. Do we have a second to approve the resolution?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Next, we have a resolution for Arbor Day. Whereas in 1872, J. Sterling Morton proposed to the Nebraska Board of Agriculture that a special day be set aside for the planting of trees. And whereas this holiday called Arbor Day was first observed with the planting of more than 1 million trees in Nebraska, and Arbor Day is now observed throughout the nation and the world. And whereas trees reduce the erosion of our precious topsoil by wind and water, cut heating and cooling costs, moderate the temperature, clean the air, provide oxygen, and provide habitat for wildlife. And whereas trees are a renewable resource, giving us paper, wood for our homes, fuel for our fires, and countless other wood products. And whereas trees in our city increase property values, enhance the economic vitality of business areas, and beautify our community. And whereas trees, wherever they are planted, are a source of joy and spiritual renewal. And whereas Warren has been recognized as a Tree City USA by the National Arbor Day Foundation and desires to continue its tree planting practices. Now therefore, I, John W. Hanley, Town Council President of the Town of Warren, do hereby proclaim April 29th, 2022 as Arbor Day in the Town of Warren, and urge all citizens to celebrate Arbor Day and to support the efforts to protect our trees and woodlands. Have a motion to speak.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Next, we have the 53rd Annual Municipal Clerks Week, May 1st, 2022 to May 7th, 2022. Whereas the Office of the Professional Municipal Clerk, a time-honored and vital part of local government, exists throughout the world, and whereas the Office of the Professional Municipal Clerk is the oldest among public servants, and whereas the Office of the Professional Municipal Clerk provides the professional link between the citizens, the local governing bodies, and agencies of government at other levels, and whereas professional municipal clerks have pledged to be ever mindful of their neutrality and impartiality, rendering equal service to all. Whereas the professional municipal clerk serves as the information center on functions of local government and community. Whereas professional municipal clerks continually strive to improve the administration of the affairs of the Office of the Professional Municipal Clerk through participation in the affairs, education programs, seminars, workshops, in the annual meeting of their state, provincial, county, and international professional organizations. Whereas it is most appropriate that we recognize the accomplishments of the Office of Professional Municipal Clerks. Wow, that gets pretty tough after saying that so many times. Now, therefore, we, the Warren Town Council, do recognize the week of May 1st through May 7th, 2022 as Professional Municipal Clerks Week, and further extend appreciation to our professional municipal clerks and to all professional municipal clerks for the vital services they perform and their exemplary dedication to the communities they represent.
So moved.
We have a motion?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, and now we have Clean Water Week, April 24th to the 30th, 2022. Whereas water is our most valuable natural resource, and whereas this year marks the 50th anniversary of the passage of the Clean Water Act, and whereas maintaining and improving water quality is central to the economic well-being of our marine-related businesses, the quality of life of residents and visitors, and the environmental sustainability of our public infrastructure. And whereas the town of Warren appreciates and recognizes the hard work performed by the entire drinking water and wastewater sector, including designing capital projects, ensuring the safety and quality of our water systems, and maintaining the infrastructure communities rely on. And whereas we are all stewards of the water and wastewater infrastructure upon which current and future generations depend. And whereas the citizens of our town are called upon to help protect our source waters from pollution, practice water conservation, and get involved with their water by familiarizing themselves with it. Now, therefore, be it resolved that by virtue of the authority vested in the Town Council of Warren, we do hereby proclaim April 24th through the 30th, 2022 as Clean Water Week.
Motion to accept.
Have a motion?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, next. Next we have. Hello? This is to recognize Jan Malik, who for 32 years worked for the town of Warren. I remember Jan, I think you were the recycle driver. I remember you driving around in that blue truck. Then went to the transfer station and then moved up from there. And this is 32 years. This is for service to the town, but we also can't forget the service to the town he provided as a member, as a state representative. He did a lot of good work for all of the members of the town of Warren. He was great for the veterans. He did really, really good things. He was not selfish, went out of his way to help anybody anytime he could. Now, on a personal note, I also consider him a partial political mentor because before I got involved in politics, we had kind of known each other, and I kind of leaned on him a little bit for guidance. I can't really get into the Cape Cod trips because I will incriminate myself as well, Jan. So, but that being said, I'm going to read the plaque. Presented to Jan P. Malik in appreciation for his 32 years of service to the town of Warren, on behalf of all citizens for his hard work, dedication, and commitment to the town by the Warren Town Council. John W. Hanley, Council President. Stephen A. Kalenda, Council Vice President. Joseph A. DePasquale, Kerry M. Cronin, and P. Brandt Heckert, April 12th, 2022. Thank you very much, Jan.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I too would like to honor the outstanding contribution of my good friend. I've always stated that the town of Warren, if it was rated on its volunteer service, it would be at the top of the country because of the fact that we have a number of outstanding individuals who not only volunteer their time and expertise, but contribute greatly to the town of Warren. I remember when I was a town council president and I received a phone call about 3 o'clock in the morning. And my wife obviously was very nervous, and so was I, as somebody might have passed away. I answered the phone and the person on the phone goes, "When are you going to plow the streets?" And I said, "What?" It's snowing out. Don't you know that? And to me, it kind of brought back the idea of these jobs are 24/7. People don't realize that anyone that's elected official or works for the town of Warren, they're 24/7, and it's really a volunteer type situation where they take it at heart and they do the best job they can because they love the town of Warren. And in Jan's case, for the past 35 years, he's contributed greatly, whether it been a member of the zoning board, president of the Little League, as a state rep, obviously, and at the highway department. And you could always count on Jan to be there for individuals. And so my proclamation kind of just highlights the years of service on the highway department, because in that one particular instant, you can understand where you don't know when a hurricane's going to come. You don't know when bad weather's going to come. You don't know when there's going to be a major accident that requires the DPW to provide assistance. And in each of those instances, Jan is going out of his way to provide that service. I see him often riding around town like Apo Tavares used to do at 4 a.m, looking for things to do for the workers. And probably one of the best tributes I saw was when they had a going away party. And all the members of the highway department showed up. I don't know if Mary paid each one to show up, but they were there in support of this outstanding individual. So without further ado, I would like to present a citation on behalf of myself and the state senate. So Jan, congratulations.
You know, the senator said, you know, through snowstorms, hurricanes, but I used to hate the public comments too before this. Used to hate it. Always fearing I would talk to the fire chief. What are they going to say about my department? Because nobody complains about the fire department, the police department. It falls on the highway department. If it's a pothole not being filled, sidewalk problem, trees not getting cut down, it fell on our shoulders, my department. First of all, I'd really like to thank the council and Kate Machad. Without their help, the funding, my department would have never been successful. So thank you very much. Thank you. Also, too, I'd like to thank my wife for putting up with me so many years. And I would like to thank the dispatchers in the town of Warren. Don't call me again at 2 a.m. You know, that stops, and she'll be happy about that. But again, it's been an honor to serve this community through good times, bad times, you know, in oppositions like Senator Felak, the council. You're not always right, but as long as you try to do the best job you can and look yourself in the mirror the next day and say, I did the best. I know I'm not keeping everybody happy, but I'm keeping the majority of them happy. That's all you can do. So again, I'd like to thank all of you, the town of Warren. This is my life. I'm not dead yet, put it that way. I'm still going to be around. And if there's anything I can do to help this community out, I'll always be there for you. One thing I can say, I look at a lot of people out there now. I don't know who the hell you are. Warren has changed. Warren has changed. And like I said, I want to welcome you all to this great community. If you stay here long enough, you're going to meet a lot of great people. So thanks again.
Another big rep Malik got out at the right time. Notice the time that we had 25 inches. He'd already retired.
See you, Jan. Thank you. Okay, next we have appointments. We have a vacancy on the Board of Canvassers. It's a 6-year term. Is this an alternate or a full member? This will be for a full member. Board of Canvassers, yep. Oh, this is a reappointment. Okay, we have a reappointment from David Johnson.
He wants to be there. Motion to approve.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second,
We have,
a question.
absolutely.
The political affiliations with this position?
I believe we have to have at least 2 in 1. You can't have 3 of the same. You can't have more than 2 members.
That was my understanding. That's why I asked. And so is Mr. Johnson's affiliation?
It's not on here.
So
I'm
we're-
pretty sure.
We're assuming we're
Yeah.
still complying with that ruling.
Yeah.
Just 2 and 1.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's a registered Democrat. I'm not sure, but yeah. Yep. Okay.
Thank you.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Aye. Okay. We also have several openings, and I want to let everybody know what they are because we need some applicants. We need some people to get involved. It's much easier to function when we have more people involved instead of less people. So we do have 2 positions available on the Economic Development Board. We have 1 position available on the Harbor Management Commission, and we also have 1 position available on the Tax Board of Assessment. So please, if you're out in the audience or if you're out there listening in Zoom land, please consider applying and helping out your town. Thank you. Okay, next we have the minutes. First, we have the March 8th, 2022 regular scheduled minutes.
I didn't see any errors. Motion to approve.
We have a motion to approve the minutes.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor? Okay, next we have the March 15th, 2022 minutes. This was for the first budget workshop.
I also didn't notice any errors. Motion to accept.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Next, we have the March 22nd, 2022 minutes for the second budget workshop.
Again, I didn't notice any errors. Motion to accept.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. And lastly, we have the March 28th, 2022 minutes for the preliminary budget workshop.
I was unable to attend, so I can't vote on that.
I will make a motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Next on the agenda, we have the consent agenda. We have P1, P2, and P3. Does anybody want to pull one of those, or do we want to vote on them as a consent agenda?
Make a motion, we approve the P1, P2, P3 items on the consent agenda.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, the consent agenda passes. Next, we have ordinances. We have 01. This is relating to the harbors and vessels. This is the first reading.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Yes, so the request for this ordinance change is, it's after a most recent consistency review by CRMC for a harbor management plan. It was noted, it was missed on the previous one, that in 1045, at that last paragraph, where it says mooring permit shall be permitted, it should read at no greater than a 3-to-1 resident to non-resident ratio from the waiting list to be consistent with CRMC guidelines.
Is that the only change to
That's
it?
the only change. It's
Okay.
basically a technical change in that
Any
wording.
questions from the council?
I do have a question that makes sense. Want to, for residents, get those moorings. Is there ever a situation where there's openings with no residents applying and the non-resident would kick that over?
Yeah, I mean, as far as the ratio, we're good there, but it was originally in the ordinance as at a 3-to-1 ratio, so it should be at no greater than. That's the way to make it mathematically
We
correct.
have out of town, if you're asking, can out of town residents get moorings in Warren? Yes, it's a separate list.
No, I was just wondering if there were sometimes openings and there were no residents to take those openings. But
The non-residents
Not
would fill,
that-
yes. So we have a good mix with that ratio of both, yes.
but we wouldn't want to, it can't get kicked up any higher than that 3-to-1 ratio.
Correct.
Any other questions? Any comment from the public?
Well, I make public comment. I was gonna make a recommendation that this get sent to Mr. DeSisto. No need. Okay. Fine with me.
Can we have a motion to pass first reading and pass it to second reading?
So moved.
We have a
Second.
motion and a second. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, next on the agenda, we have the public hearing number 1. This is for a BBL limited beverage license from Rock Oscar LLC, DBA The Archive Book and Snackery on 4 Market Street, Warren, Rhode Island. Hello.
Hello,
Back.
thank you. Thanks for having us.
So is this the one we were pending the state approval,
Yes,
Anthony?
correct, yes.
And did we receive that?
Well, send a few letters here right now. I understand that, that they sent.
Yes, for a bill to pass and become law, a bill has to pass within the individual committee of a Senate or a House, then pass the full body, then be transferred over to the other side and go through the same process. So to expedite the process, Senator Rep. Knight, Rep. Speakman submitted the House version. I submitted the Senate version. Both bills were passed on the floor, and now they're on their way to the governor's office, and he has 7 days to approve it.
Can we,
Hearing is in order for tonight.
okay,
I don't doubt that the governor actually signed the excellent work by the legislature. On this bill, I gotta see what was passed. But you can hear it tonight, and if it's fit, you can grant the petition and just make it conditional upon the governor signing the.
we did kind of discuss this last time. Is there any other questions from the council?
I have a question. Did we discuss the days and hours of operation? I don't recall.
I don't think we got to that part here, but we did go in front of the zoning board and they did approve us for Monday through Sunday from 9 to 11. But if we're looking probably more for evening hours, closing around 10, probably opening like 4 or 5, and just either Wednesday through Sunday or Thursday through Sunday.
Okay, I was gonna say, don't do that. That's a lot. So you're saying Thursday?
Potentially Thursday through Sunday, yeah.
Okay.
And closing at 11? What time, sir?
The zoning board approved us till 11 o'clock, but we're probably aiming during the week for 9 and then weekends 10.
Yeah, okay.
But that's not obviously set in stone.
Other questions?
I'll actually say I'm not in favor of restricting your hours. So if you're asking for that, I wouldn't be in support of that. I think the license that we're giving you and what the zoning board allowed you to work under is fine with me.
I'm
Yeah, no,
suggesting to box you in. I'm just saying,
Any
that
other
would be a
questions?
lot if you opened all
Any,
of those hours for
as
yourself.
this is a public hearing, is there anyone in the public that would like to speak to this application? Okay, that being said,
Motion to close the public hearing.
we have a motion to close the public hearing. Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Okay,
Motion to approve.
we have a motion to approve the BVL limited beverage license. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second. All in favor? Aye. Contingent upon
The governor's
the
signature.
governor, contingent upon the state passing the law.
The governor's signature. I'll amend my motion to reflect that language.
Okay.
Governor's signature, 7 days, if he doesn't sign, the law becomes effective by operation.
Okay. Yep, so basically pending state approval. Good.
Great.
Thank you. All you gotta do is call the governor up and get him to sign that paper. Yep, okay, while you're here, we're also going to do P4, which is the victualling license for the same property. Basically, you kind of answered all of our questions already. Is there anything from the council to further move ahead? P4?
Motion to approve.
We have a motion and a second to approve the victualling license for Rock Oscar LLC. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. You're all set.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Okay, so now we are on to P5. Make sure I didn't skip anything, did I?
I don't think so, but
Public hearing,
we did
nope, yeah, we're on P5. Next, we have P5, which is for a yearly entertainment license for Fork in the Road, DBA Roadie Roots. And this is to amend the existing license, I believe.
Correct.
Please explain to us what you would like to do.
So as of right now, we just have entertainment on Fridays, but they want people to have the opportunity to do it over the weekend, but not super late. So just want to have the ability to do it on Saturdays or Thursday night.
and inside.
Yes, inside, not outside.
Just Saturday, not Sunday. Just Saturday?
Yeah.
Not Sunday. Friday,
Not
so
Sunday.
Friday and Saturday.
Yeah, no Sunday.
But did you say Thursday?
Possibility, but not really. They know it's just gonna be acoustic sets, so it's nothing super loud or.
Okay, just so we have give you the full
Mhm.
opportunity to have all the days that you, or the evenings that you would like.
Thursday through Saturday.
Thursday, Friday, and Saturday
Yeah.
evening.
Oh, isn't a yearly entertainment license at their discretion?
I think we limited the hours on our original license, Joe. I think that's why they're back
Did
to
we?
amend it.
Alright.
Yeah.
No, I mean about usage. If we give them an
Yeah.
entertainment license, and he wants to play guitar on Tuesday, they could.
Correct, but I think the original one, we limited them to Friday nights.
Okay,
Yeah.
I guess what I'm referring to, the question, counselors, I was confused, thinking that you already, I know you had restricted hours.
Mhm.
I had forgotten the language and was trying to figure out if we were giving you an entertainment license based on the days that we give you tonight, which isn't the case.
Yes.
So you can do it anytime you want.
Okay.
There you go. Motion to approve.
We have a motion to approve the yearly entertainment license. Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. P5 passes. Good
All right,
luck.
Thank you.
Next, we have P6. It's request for a mobile food establishment permit from Christie's Craft Tales, Christy Dukoff.
Hi,
Hi,
how are you?
not bad at all.
Thanks for the time.
Just a little rundown on what you're offering and what you're looking to do.
Sure. I am a business that creates craft mocktails, so non-alcoholic balanced beverages. I'm looking to set up a cart next to the taco box to sell my beverages.
Questions from the council?
Do you have your mobile cart already all
I do.
outfitted?
I do, and it's approved. There's no propane or anything on there, so it was very easy approval.
And then you've got your spot next to the taco box all
Yep.
ready to go?
Yes, and it will be something that goes up in the morning and goes down at night.
I actually do have a question.
Sure.
While you're here.
Yeah.
Do you intend to be anywhere else or because you're a mobile cart, you'll probably move around a bit?
Yeah, so farmers markets, Blount reached out and asked if I could go there, so I talked to the ladies about that as well, to do a pop-up, but mainly, yeah, the cart, I specifically got to do farmers markets and be outside the box.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I see all the licenses. Motion to approve.
We have a motion to approve the mobile food establishment license. Do we have a second?
You have a second.
Yep.
All in favor? Aye.
Thank you.
Good luck to you.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Okay, next we have P7, which is a request for a one-day entertainment license from Bradley Chase, 20 Stonegate Road. Good evening.
Good evening.
Give us a little rundown on what you're looking to do.
Sure. I live at 20 Stonegate Road, and I just want to say that my 27-year-old daughter told me that she's finally graduating college after 8 years of undergraduate college, supposedly, and would like a party. So she'd like to have a 6-piece band of her choosing called Rugburn play at my house. I'm planning on having, I understand parking is a concern, which Jim and the chief of police asked me about, and that shouldn't be a concern at all because I plan on parking all the cars on my lawn. If anyone's familiar with my property, there's a main house and a carriage house, and then there's a big lawn that goes all the way down to the water. So I will be directing every single car to that lawn, and hopefully that will work out okay for the parking. And I plan on having people arrive there at 4 and the band starting at 6.
What time is the band intended to go until?
I put down on the application 10, but I'm hoping it'll be till 9.
Okay.
Have you spoken to your neighbors at all?
I have
Is
not.
everybody aware that?
I have not. My intention is to invite every abutting neighbor across the street and on both sides to the party. I think that might help, but I haven't.
It would have been helpful if you had told them. So
Oh,
you
ahead
could
of
have
this
said
meeting?
to us, well, you didn't have to, but
Oh,
it would
right.
be nice to hear that your neighbors aren't,
that's a
having a
good point.
tooth pulled the night before or, something that would drive them, I don't know. So I have no problem, but I just really thought that that was going to be an easy question for you to answer.
Yeah, no, that makes all the sense in the world. And I've never had a party at my house here or any previous houses. And I've never pulled an entertainment license. So now I know for next time, that would be a good thing.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I don't have that information.
That's okay. I think there's enough time that you can let all your neighbors be aware. And if you have to give them a certificate for dinner, they can
Yeah.
do that. So they wouldn't be home that night. I have a motion to
Oh,
approve.
that's a good idea.
I'd like to hear from the fire chief and police chief on this. Have you discussed it with the applicant? Okay, fire? Okay, good. We have a motion to approve. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Motion and a second. All in favor? Aye.
Thank you very much.
Good luck. Okay, that pushes us up to correspondence. I know there is, I believe we want to pull C2.
Yeah, we don't have to pull.
Well,
Up and down.
yep, we don't have to pull La Piñata because we went through that. And then I believe.
C5.
C5 or C15? C15 is the one that you're interested in. C5 is
apologize.
vital records.
Yep.
And we're going to pull C15. So we have C2. And C15. C2 is the resignation of a valued member of our tree commission. It's Jenny Flanagan is stepping down from the tree commission. Just want to acknowledge her, all of her hard work. And I'd like to send her a letter of thanks from the town. You have a motion for a letter?
Yes, I will second that. I will make that motion.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, and next we have C15, which Councilman Kalenda and I have spoken about, and we both think it's kind of fitting for what Warren has gone through this past year. And it comes from the city of Pawtucket. And with that, I'll give the floor to Councilman Kalenda.
Thank you. Good evening, and I apologize for my tardiness, but thank you for this opportunity. So this resolution comes from the city of Pawtucket, and they've had similar issues with dealings with liquor establishments that they give their liquor licenses to, and then they end up before the Department of Business Regulation. So there's legislation before the House and the Senate, and I thought I saw Senator Felag in the building. I don't know if he's still here. That's fine. I think this is also before the senator's committee, the bill to change so that the enforcement would come back to the cities and towns, so that we wouldn't be with this decision before the DBR, that when the cities and towns do render their decisions that affect the liquor licenses, that they're not just stand, but there's more of a process for them to be held instead of the de novos that they do at the DBR right now, where they start from scratch. So I feel that regardless of what's occurred, but because of what has occurred in the town of Warren, that we should endorse this and support this 100%.
Can we have a motion to support the resolution?
I'll make a motion that we support, unless, is there any other council person that wants to speak on this, by all means. But if there isn't, I will make a motion that we endorse this resolution and send a letter of support along with our endorsement to the State House so that they can take appropriate action on the bill that is before them.
We have a motion.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Good. Yeah, I think that's a good idea. It puts a little bit more control. As we can see from how this is played out, it's very frustrating, the delay and the lack of our enforcement. So,
And if I may, the council person is Terry Mercer, who is also a practicing attorney, who's been on council in the city of Pawtucket for many years. And it just by chance that he reached out to me and asked me if I was tracking this. And once he put me onto it, I did start to track it. So I think a lot of gratitude and thanks goes out to Councilman Mercer from the city of Pawtucket. So thank you, Mr. President.
okay, next on the agenda, we have new business. This was brought up by Councilman DePasquale, and it's discussion and action regarding the requirement for Department of Motor Vehicles office in Warren. Councilman?
Thank you. I don't know if anybody has realized, but since the pandemic, going to the Department of Motor Vehicles has changed. And another thing that changed is there's no longer an office in Warren. And I think that's a huge inconvenience to the East Bay, not just Warren itself. And in Rhode Island General Law 31-2-6, it states that there shall be, the administrator shall maintain offices in those places in the state that he or she may deem necessary to properly carry out the powers and duties vested in the Division of Motor Vehicles. The administrator shall maintain branch offices in the towns of Warren and Westerly and keep the Warren office open for business at least 3 days per week and keep the Westerly office open at least 1 day per week. I actually had the convenience of driving to Westerly because that was the only time that I was able to get an appointment. It was inconvenient. And I think that we should hold the DMV accountable and bring them into compliance with the law. There's a vacancy at Job Lot Plaza that I think would serve fine, lots of parking. And I'm looking for some advice from the solicitor on how we should move this item forward. I think you should speak into the microphone because people can't hear you on TV.
No? No. There it is.
I have a suggestion.
Yeah.
The first suggestion would be. I have a suggestion. The first is that the council adopt a motion that would authorize me to communicate in writing with the legal counsel, the DMV, pointing out that this legislation is effective and is not being complied with, and that the town council wants that law to be adhered to. That's step one. Step two is I think it's appropriate for the council by motion to enact a resolution to the legislative delegation asking that the matter be referred to the oversight committees in both the House and in the Senate to determine why this law is not being adhered to. So I think with those two actions, you should get a response from DMV, and hopefully we can get something over here in the town of Warren as the law requires.
May I just, and I support this 100%.
Of course
But
you
I'm
can.
just, what's the possibility of the governor just saying no? And what's the possibility of this just ending up in some committee and it just not ever seeing the light of day?
Well, that's why I suggest that in the first place, I think that the reason I suggest that the legal counsel be contacted is because there is non-compliance. So I think the town has some ability here to ask by way of a writ of mandamus that the law be complied with. That's the
Okay.
first thing, but notice is a requirement. So that's step one. But step two is I've noticed that the oversight committees in both of the legislative branches are pretty effective on things like this to get some action done.
And
I don't
there's,
doubt, by the way, that that's correct. It's not something we're going to want to do.
yeah, and there's no, like, they don't have to comply with this because it's,
Well, they have to unless they
Yeah.
change the,
It's a
unless
law.
they change the legislation.
I'm surprised the law wasn't repealed.
yeah, exactly, okay,
So,
okay.
and I think there's good grounds to have that. And reading the language, it's more convenient for the public, and I think that that was the intent of it. So,
Okay.
Thank you.
Do you recommend that we send a resolution to the neighboring towns in the East Bay? Since this isn't just a Warren issue.
hadn't thought of it, but yes.
So the, just, I mean, I'm sure everyone's aware that the DMV was in the police building, and there was conflict, and that's why we severed our relationship with them
Oh.
there.
That and they hadn't paid their rent in about 18 months.
Well, there was that as well.
You know.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
But to suggest another location makes perfect sense.
There was a time it was in the second floor, right, where the building officials' offices.
And
Okay.
So did they pay us in full? Are they make good on their outstanding debt to the town of Warren?
So yes, they did pay in full. And I did previously have a conversation with an employee of Department of Motor Vehicles specifically about the Ocean State Job Lot Plaza, suggesting that might be a good location. They thought that it sounded like a great location, but they would like free rent. They said that they would love to locate somewhere in Warren, but they don't have a budget for rent. So they would like to be introduced to a landlord that may provide free space.
I would love
So-
that too.
Is there a state building in Warren that they could use?
The only state building I know of is the
The highway,
the Armory building. Well, the highway building is,
it's just a salt shed.
yeah, it's not a real building.
I've never heard of such a thing. Well, I
Anyway.
guess we can't, the only way we can fail is if we don't try.
Correct.
Yes.
And there is no language outside of this right here that would oblige us or obligate us to make a space for them or to, get them free rent.
No. The burden, that's a good question. The burden is on DMV.
Okay.
Okay, so we have let's see if we can, so the first part of the motion would be to direct you to send a letter to the DMV,
Yes, legal counsel.
to the DMV's legal counsel. And the second part would be to draft a resolution, forward it to our local representatives and also to our neighboring communities for their possible support. That
Yes.
sound about right? Okay, could we have a motion?
So
please?
moved.
We have a motion
I'll second that.
and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Maybe we'll have it in time for the new license plates that everybody seems to hate, even though they voted 52% for it. I don't know. Okay, next on the agenda, we have the town manager. Nope, I skipped over NB2. Discussion and action regarding a requested donation of $150 from Best Buddies, a nonprofit organization. Is there anyone here from Best Buddies?
No, Michaela Belasco contacted me. This is one of the many fundraisers that Steve Belasco used to put on, and they're going to do it this year. I believe it's April 29th. And it's going to be a concert at the soccer club on Child Street. It's open to the public. And the organization is the Best Buddies of the Bristol Warren School District. And I make a motion that we donate them $150.
I believe we did this for them last year
Oh,
as well. Yep.
We have
Yep.
for several years.
Yep.
Yep, I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Okay, next on the agenda, we have the town manager. Discussion and action regarding the supervisory personnel policy. Kate?
So these are the amendments to the non-union supervisory personnel policy for those employees hired after April 26, 2006. These changes were briefly discussed during our previous budget hearing. I should note, and it's not noted on the agenda, but my request would be that if these changes are approved, that they take effect July 1st of 2022, which should be the start of the next fiscal year, just for the clarity and ease of implementation. If you have questions about any specific items included within the policy, I'm happy to hear those questions.
Now, Kate, with these numbers, this was included in the budget?
Yes, correct.
Okay,
Mr. Hanley, should we discuss the changes?
absolutely.
So the first is the clothing allowance. Is that correct?
Yes, correct. So the first amendment would be, instead of having an amount for clothing allowance for the fire chief and DPW director set by policy, the request is to change that so that it's determined through the annual budget process, so that the council would approve, or it would go through the full budget process instead of having a set amount.
Okay, were these numbers low? Were they not having enough? Is that why we're looking to set it each year?
Yes, they were lower than what the union employees were receiving.
Okay.
It also didn't include the fire marshal, which didn't exist when the policy was originally passed.
Okay.
So I'm requesting to add the fire marshal to that.
Okay.
So instead of
Policy.
it being a standard rate, it will be in the budget for review.
Correct.
Do you want to approve these as we go along?
What we can do is I think if we tend to agree on them all, we'll
We can
go
make
through and
the
approve it at once, and if we have changes, we'll vote on the individual changes as they come up.
Sounds good.
Okay, next we have, this is on the health insurance. Any non-using supervisory personnel, we're changing it from 3 years to 4 years or to the age of 65. Basically, this is to keep them eligible for the town's health care. Okay,
Correct. So this would bring them into conformity with both of the collective bargaining agreements that are in place. So it would be equal.
okay. Any questions from the council? Okay, the next we have the holidays, and I believe this just is taking out Rhode Island Independence Day as a holiday.
Correct. And also taking out birthdays as a holiday. There's been that
Okay.
birthdays were previously included as a holiday, which causes issues because what if someone's birthday is on a Saturday, then they don't get their birthday as a holiday, and it's just
Okay,
remove that.
any questions from the council on that item? Okay, next is under the IRA contributions, and I believe it's just a wording for, to take out Roth IRA.
Correct. Just to allow the employee to choose which type of IRA they'd like to invest in rather than specifying that it has to be a Roth IRA.
Okay, any questions from the council?
No.
Okay, next is wait a minute. IRA contributions. That, when we go from one page to the other, I'm a little confused. Is that still part of the IRA contributions, the?
Correct. So I'm proposing, we had a policy where if the employee contributed 3% of their base pay, the town will contribute another $500 or $600. I'm proposing to eliminate that.
Okay. Questions from the council? Okay, and 9, you're doing the same thing. You're eliminating that as well after the year's 9. Okay, and then we have the
Can I
new
just
one.
ask, was anybody taking advantage of that?
No.
Okay.
Okay, then next we have the longevity for the non-union supervisory employees.
Correct. And what I'm proposing is to include longevity for those employees hired after April 26, 2006. Those employees hired before April 26, 2006 already have longevity at a different rate structure in their policy. So I modeled this after kind of our most conservative rate structure that we have within our collective bargaining agreements. And am proposing to reintroduce longevity for those department heads, supervisory employees who have been here for more than 5 years.
Questions from the council? Now all of this looks good.
No
I
question.
can tell you one thing for longevity, it gets a bad rap. But if the city of Pawtucket didn't have it, I would not have been there for 15 years. And that's the only way they retained the building official in Pawtucket for 15 years. So even though it gets a bad rap with the public, it does help the town to keep good employees longer instead of just jumping ship every couple of years. So,
Mr. President, I actually do have a question. So in the present structure for the individuals that do get longevity, individuals hired prior to 206, longevity is not figured into their retirement, correct? It's just, well, I just want to know what we're doing. Some are, some aren't. What do we have in the town of Warren?
I believe it is included. It is included, yes, in their
So
pensionable.
their pensionable
salary.
amount will be based on their base salary, holidays, and longevity.
Yes,
Okay. And that's what you're proposing for the individuals hired after 2006.
yes.
Okay. All right. Just so that we're all on the same page and we're clear, because that's not stated. So, okay.
I think that's part of the MERS law.
Well,
The longevity.
That's not
does
included in
cover
MERS, right? Is
Yeah,
that
it
part of
is.
MERS?
Yeah.
Yeah, I believe
is.
MERS requires that.
MERS requires.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. I've been retired for a long time, so I don't know what's in and out.
MERS is what, the Municipal Employment
Retirement
Retirement
System.
System?
Yeah.
Yes.
Those who
Okay.
don't know all the acronyms.
Yep. And all of our employees are required to participate in MERS.
Okay, any other
Okay.
questions from the council on that section? Okay, now we're going down to paid days off. And there's some red lined out and note conflicts with severance pay. Could you please elaborate on that a little bit, Kate?
Sure. So the supervisory employees are not allowed to accrue from year to year vacation and sick time. So at the end of the year, basically you can carry over 10 days, but everything else is use it or lose it. So state law says that if someone has accrued time, vacation or sick time that has not been used in the current year, and they leave our employment, we do need to pay them out for that current year. And that is stated further in that severance pay section on page 4, says that we do need to pay people for their accrued time off in the current year. So I'm just proposing to remove the conflicting language because those two sections conflicted with each other. And we were advised by legal counsel that we do have to pay people for the vacation time that they have remaining when they separate from the town.
Okay.
So the new language, by striking that, it becomes compliant,
Correct. And it also removes the internal
the conflict.
conflict, yes.
So it's a compliancy and a conflict issue. Good.
Okay, next we come to personal time. And it's jumping from 2 to 4 days per year.
Correct. And that's to compensate for removing the birthdays and the Independence Day.
Okay. Questions from the council? I know one, where I work, there is kind of an incentive in there. If you don't use any sick time, or as the amount of sick time you use goes down, I think if you use more than 2 days, you don't get the bonus. But if you use less than 2 days of sick time, you get an extra personal day. If you don't use any sick time, you get 2 personal days. I think that was probably put in to try to generate better attendance. Maybe something in the future, we may want to look at that, but other than that.
Motion to approve?
Wait.
Yeah, well, I just have a real quick question.
We got more.
Personal days. Explain the difference between that and a vacation day. I mean, I know how they were used when I used them. Personal days were like, you can't be denied that time off. Can the supervisors' days be denied?
They can,
They can, by
Yes.
you.
yes.
Okay, so so that's why we're going in the direction of a personal day. That would trump your veto.
Correct.
Okay.
Operational restraints.
Yeah.
Okay, the next on the retirement plan, there's just the last line is unless otherwise previously arranged. Kate?
Again, just because that deals with the general agreement with MERS, the entire employees retirement system, and there can be no other previously arranged circumstances. Everyone is required to participate in MERS, so we can't make other arrangements.
Okay. And that's it. And the other question I have is, Anthony, have you reviewed all of these changes?
I have, yeah.
Okay,
I have a question.
absolutely.
On under wages, on page 4 of 5, wage increases. There's still the sentence at the end that says approved by the town council and ratified at a financial town meeting.
Oh, yeah.
So we need to
Good catch.
cross that out.
Perhaps saying as approved through the
Budget process.
budget process.
Yeah.
Carrie, I don't know if your microphone's working. I guess they're having trouble hearing you.
Can you hear me now?
Hello?
Okay, so we got that. We're crossing that out and added through the budget process. Okay. And then the top of that paragraph, unless, as applied to wage increases, it states unless there is a substantial change in job duties and responsibilities, all salary increases will be given on a parity basis. Given our discussion during the budget talks and the addition of new positions, would it be prudent to add the word performance, job performance there, that would give the manager a little more latitude to recognize when parity wasn't appropriate in certain cases?
It's really the council's purview. I mean, any recommendation is going to come to the council. So if you would like, I mean,
Yeah, we still have the yay or nay to it,
correct.
but it would give you a little bit more of an opportunity to say, and here's why.
So it would change from job duties,
And
comma, responsibilities, and performance? Is that the suggestion?
Yeah, unless there is a substantial change in job duties, responsibility, and performance, comma, all salary increases will be given on a parity basis. So it would just, we have the final say, but it would give some opportunity for there to be adjustments made to wages if department head had shown had performed to that level that you felt it was warranted.
If it so pleases the council, I would like to take that under advisement and come back on that item, because I'd like to think about how that would play.
That may cause some dissension in the ranks if we go that route.
I think there would just have to be a clear process for assessing performance in order to have that put into place. And I'd like, if it's okay with the council, I'd like to think about that before.
I mean,
making a
I've
recommendation.
sat through performance-based raises. We tried it. It didn't, I want you to look into it. I think that your research will be valuable. I can only remember it came, it went, and we tried it.
And just one more note that I should make, because I mentioned it previously, but just for the benefit of the public, this policy doesn't apply to me. So so that nobody thinks that I'm here asking for something on my own behalf, this policy does not apply to my position.
Correct, duly noted.
Yep.
Thank you.
Any other questions, comments from the council? What's our pleasure? What would we like to do with this?
I'd make a motion to approve and have the,
As amended, taking out that one sentence? The
yes,
financial
as
summary?
amended, and
Okay.
have Ms. Mishu come back with a recommendation on the language.
We have-
So I would make it contingent upon her coming up with language on the increase in salary.
And to take effect on July 1st of 2022?
Actually, we can move this to next month. It's simple. It's July.
Okay.
It takes effect July. It would make it.
So you want to continue this to next month for that research?
Yep.
Okay.
Might as well do it all at once.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, next we have the solicitor. Discussion and action regarding Warren Gateway Center. Anthony?
The council may recall that the memorandum of understanding for the Warren Gateway project was continued for 6 months so that we could get a better sense of where things are going in terms of benchmarks. And I know that Bob spent quite a bit of time on this, but unfortunately, the MOU has lapsed. It hasn't been renewed. And in particular, benchmark number 8 in regard to the financing. We just, the town is not satisfied. When I say the town, that's why we're here now for the town council, but in speaking for staff, it does not appear that the financing for this project is certified. So at this point, the recommendation from staff, which I concur with, is that a termination letter be sent, notwithstanding the fact that the lapsed. And notwithstanding the fact that Bob previously sent a termination letter in May of 2021 for the same issues, that it be issued. The request is for a vote to that effect for a 60-day termination letter to go out on this project. Fortunately, things didn't work out.
Mr. DeSisto, may I?
Absolutely.
Mr. DeSisto, is it possible for us to outright deny this without the 60 days, or is it in our best legal interest to wait the 60 days? Can you explain that process?
For notice purposes, under the agreement, I think it's the prudent course to do. The prudent way to proceed. I'm concerned that, going forward, I know that you've spent a lot of time on this project, in getting it, I should say this property, and getting it into the town's hands. And I just think it's the best way to go forward on this so that the property doesn't get tied up for an undue amount of time.
Would we be able to investigate uses, or do we have to wait until the 60-day period is over?
I prefer not to answer that in public.
Okay.
Can I ask when the clock starts ticking on that 60 days? Is it right now, or is it at the end of the?
Yes.
So we don't get time served for when it expired?
Yes.
Okay.
And it's 60 days.
All right, I make a motion that we sever ties and send a letter.
Thank you.
Second. We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you. Okay, next we have Finance Director.
Good evening.
Good
Hello.
evening.
You have the monthly report in front of you. I
Yep.
don't have anything out of the ordinary to report. Do you have any question?
On the revenues and expenditures? No. Your second item is the NY Hart total of 10,600. Could you give us a heads up what that's about?
Yes, the OPEB actuarial service is an essential product for our annual audit. So this is just a renewal.
Okay. Any questions from the council?
I did have one question. Fiscal 23 is about double. Is that it's gone?
Right, we have a full evaluation and an interim. So the interim will be less than the full review.
Makes sense. Thank you.
Okay, can we have a motion to approve the
So moved.
contract with OPEB?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, number 3.
I just want to say that before you approve number 3, it is contingent upon the Auditor General's approval. Right now it's pending.
Okay, so number 3 is awarding a bid for the contract for the audit services, and this is pending their approval as well. It's for the total of $66,000 even.
So the language should be contingent upon state approval and order. Is this the Auditor General?
Yes.
So I make a motion to approve contingent on the Auditor General's acceptance.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Aye. Thank you, Fun. Okay, next, we have the Harbor Master. Discussion and action on the Harbor Management Plan.
Hello again.
Hello.
Hello.
Ahoy.
Okay, so before you, I know you all received a copy of the draft harbor management plan that we're looking to have approved and submitted to CRMC for final approval. If I can just give you the timeline as to how this came to this point. The harbor management plan needs to be renewed every 5 years. Ours was due in 2015. We had a 2010 version. We were working on the draft through 2015, communicating with CRMC, and we're extended to 2016 where we submitted a draft. That was towards the end of 2016. They granted us an extension on the existing plan. They did an initial review of that draft, which concluded in February of 2019. It was discovered at that time that an updated water quality certificate needed to be acquired from DEM. We did the application, that was February 22nd of 2019. Application was submitted to DEM on February 26th of 2019. DEM issued that water quality certificate on January 3rd of 2020. And CRMC did a second consistency review on January 5th of 2020, where they came back with several minor technical changes throughout the plan, along with 5 ordinance changes and 1 new ordinance that was needed for outhauls to be consistent with their regulations. Kevin Cute from CRMC attended the February 5th, 2021 Harbor Commission meeting to discuss the changes in that consistency review. And at that point, we were going to start working on those changes. And then in March of 2020, COVID hit and everything went silent for quite a period of time. So this past November of 2021, I submitted the ordinance changes, the 5 ordinance changes to the council, along with the 1 new ordinance for the outhauls for first reading. And those were passed and pushed to December 2021. We had the second reading and those 5 ordinances changes in the new ordinance were passed. And then April 1st of 2022, we had an additional consistency review conducted by Kevin Cute and CRMC staff. And they came back with 4 additional technical wording changes and the wording change in the ordinance that we just went through previously in the meeting. And that is where we stand at this point. So all changes, all the technical changes have been addressed in the most recent consistency review. And the 1 ordinance change that is going to second reading for next month.
Any questions from the council?
I don't have any. I'm aware of what they've gone through.
No, I'm just reading some.
Okay. Okay, at this time, I am going to, I did get some correspondence from some concerned people. At this point, I'm going to give them the chance to come up and speak. Some of them did sound like legal issues, but we'll defer to the solicitor on that. So please, whoever wants to speak on this matter, please come up, state your name, your address. If there's more than 1 person, let's try to not duplicate what the previous person has said to keep this moving. And at that, hello.
Councilors, and thank you for your service to our town. And thank you, President Hanley, for allowing me to speak to you tonight. My name is Frederick Massey. I live in 15 Brownell Street here in Warren. I'm here as a deeply concerned resident and homeowner representing my immediate neighborhood's interests and as chairman of the Warren Planning Board. As you know, the Warren Planning Board is currently working on the town's new comprehensive plan. Planning board members and the town planner are working hard to create a guide for Warren today and into the future. Our process includes great attention to detail and incorporates multiple reviews and comments. Rhode
Can I
Island
just
State-
stop you just for 1 second? I'm sorry. Did you, because you mentioned something about the planning board and as being his chairperson. Is it appropriate for that to be stated at this, because we have no agenda identifying him speaking as chairperson of the planning board? I just want to make sure we don't go down some slippery slope.
I'm going to say this, it's appropriate for Mr. Massey to speak.
Yeah, oh, 100%.
He can identify himself as the chairman of the planning board. Under CMC regulations and statutes, the planning board does not have a role in the adoption of the harbor management plan. That's conferred on the harbor management condition.
Correct.
Now, under CRMC guidelines, I can tell you that the Coastal Resources Management Council considers a harbor management plan to be an extension of the town's comprehensive plan seaward from mean high. And I use that term, although it's going to change pretty soon, I think, for mean high. So there is an interplay there, but I don't think it impairs Mr. Massey's ability to say what he has to say.
Okay. Thanks. Sorry about that. Yeah.
Okay. Our process includes great attention to detail and incorporates multiple reviews and comments for Rhode Island statewide planning, formal advertised public hearings, seeking and welcoming Warren resident review and comment, and town council review and comment. Throughout the comprehensive plan process, as in all our planning board actions, including the recently completed 2022 Warren Hazard Mitigation Plan, which is in fact included in the Harbor Management Plan, we regularly seek legal counsel from the town solicitor's office and to inform our decision-making, ensure we act in the best interests of Warren residents and avoid creating situations potentially leading to resident harm or litigation being brought against the town. Tonight, the Warren Harbor Commission is asking you to review and approve their draft March 2022 Harbor Management Plan. I've carefully read and reviewed the draft plan, and although it contains some good and useful information, it is dangerously flawed. Unlike every other town plan involving major decisions of consequence to residents in the town, the Harbor Commission's plan process occurred without the involvement of the town solicitor and without appropriate communication and an open dialogue with Warren residents who would be directly and adversely impacted if many of the plan's current recommendations are approved. Most alarming are the Harbor Commission's actions to date and recommendations regarding identifying, designating, and subsequently publicizing public rights of way. The Commission's Harbor Management Plan fails to recognize or address the full implications of those actions and recommendations on both residents and the town. Without a more comprehensive and inclusive approach, the Harbor Commission's plan will negatively impact a significant number of Warren residents, harming neighborhood peace, quality of life, home valuations, public safety, and creating serious parking issues. This, in turn, will open to both significant insurance liability and costly and time-consuming litigation. Additional problems with the Warren Harbor Commission and the draft 2022 Harbor Management Plan include, but are not limited to, Warren Harbor Commission actions taken to date without clear accountability to the town or residents. Harbor Management Plan recommendations made without reasonable concern for resident well-being and town resources and liability. Harbor Management Plan recommendations allowing the Commission unchecked investigation authority. Unsupported information and maps appearing in the Harbor Management Plan and presented as evidence. Willful exclusion of existing facts and history by the Harbor Commission in its decision-making and in the Harbor Management Plan. Insufficient information in the Warren Harbor Commission Management Plan related agendas, meeting minutes, and minutes postings, all of which constitute possible violations of the open meetings law. In its current form, I cannot see how the Warren Planning Board or the town could in good conscience incorporate this document or its recommended actions. For these and other reasons I have documented and will share with you, certainly not now, I respectfully request you suspend your review of the draft Warren Harbor Management Plan before taking any further action and authorize, one, the town solicitor to thoroughly review the draft Harbor Management Plan document and provide counsel to the town council on its legal liabilities. Two, to conduct a special town meeting. I've got here chaired by the town's planning director, but it can be chaired. It just needs to be someone who is competent to chair, and Bob would be a fantastic person, but he's got a lot on his plate right now. Specifically, a public hearing on the draft harbor management plan where Warren residents will be allowed to ask questions about and make statements concerning the Harbor Management Commission's plan process and recommendations. This would then be followed by a harbor management plan revision reflecting the town solicitor's counsel and public comment. Thank you for your consideration of this request and for your commitment to fair, open, and honest town government. I know it's a lot of information. There's a lot of detail behind that. It would be way too long, as long, in fact, as the harbor management plan is, which is a long document, and there are a number of hidden reefs within that document. The plans, that the information that govern how the harbor master operates is not at question here. What is at question is the commission's decisions to send information to CRMC without properly vetting that through the public, their ignorance, and I don't mean that in a negative term, their denial, rather, of facts, of realities, historic realities about certain areas, and attempts to present this information by the town solicitor, by me, at various times were rebuffed by the Harbor Commission. So what I'm asking now is not that you reject the plan, but that you put it on hold and give the town solicitor time to take a look at this and let you know what the liabilities are. Because without this read, without taking a look at this carefully, you would be on, the town could potentially be on the hook for liabilities. And importantly, for me as a private resident, for my neighbors, and for neighbors throughout the Warren, we would be in a position where our quality of life, our peace of mind, our home valuations could be irreparably harmed. So all we want is a chance to confront this before this thing passes out to CRMC. After that, it becomes much more difficult and much more expensive and much more prone to litigation if you approve this tonight. So I'm asking for a hold to allow the public to review and talk about this. Thank you.
Thank you. My first question is, Tony, have you had a chance to review this document yet? Absolutely.
Harbor Commission put a lot of work into this. They have. Serious allegations have been raised. But as you know, I have other clients. Harbor management plans adopted. And I can tell you that towns in the coastal resources basically have current jurisdiction. Regulations of the CRMC, they call the CRMP, require that the coastal adopt a harbor management plan. Warren actions ahead of the curve. Way back when they had a harbor management plan for like CRMC. But it's supposed to be updated regular intervals. Things that is required here, not only compliance with section 1.3.1 CRMC, subsection O, but also the guidelines for the adoption of harbor management. And one of the things with the adoption is that town solicitors are supposed to review these documents. I put my practice here in other coastal I don't like to get involved in the drafting of it because it's highly technical in nature. It's not really. However, the CRMC requires requires that not only is the harbor management, adopt the harbor management, that the town council adopt, but also that the town solicitor review it. And in fact, the town solicitor of whatever town is adopting is supposed to draft a letter certifying the review, certifying any legal issues that have arisen and how they've been resolved, and whether or not the harbor management plan complies with state statutes and the 6-23 and the CRC regulations. I don't mind doing that now. I don't mind giving you a report prior to that. I think it's good. May solve some issues. I'll go over the issues that were raised. On the
Stanley, I have a question for the solicitor. Since we've participated in this review, since I've participated in this review for several times, I appreciate Mr. Massey's input. Hasn't it been our previous practice to actually send this off to you for approval legally? And then haven't we held public discourse? So I have no problem. I mean, basically, Mr. Massey has stolen our thunder, because ordinarily what I believe we do is send it off to you for review. And then I believe we've had public meetings to address the concerns and changes before we make that vote.
it's a requirement, yes.
No,
But I don't mind doing that now, and I don't mind reviewing what's been presented to you and responding to it.
absolutely. Yep. I feel that would be our recommendation.
Any other questions?
No, I mean, I think this is the right way forward, you know.
Absolutely.
No,
It's not different than what we've done previously.
Correct.
The harbor,
It's actually a requirement.
it's a requirement. So again, I appreciate Mr. Massey making the recommendations to us. And I would look forward to a special council meeting the night that we discuss it.
Anthony, would your review also be able to identify correctly and incorrectly identified public rights of way?
Yes.
Okay.
We spent a lot of time on rights.
Okay.
I mean, something that would be helpful to me, and I'm just, going through this and dissecting and making notes that I've done as I've been reading it for the past few days. On page 27, it says, I should say it states, about right-of-ways, a few have been altered or disguised by abutting property owners in such a way to make them either difficult or impossible to find or use. And then it goes on to state, many are unmarked, poorly marked, or posted with no trespassing signs. What would be helpful to me is if this is being stated in this document, which right-of-ways are they referring to? So that we could make a determination on that actually, is that fact, or is that, misinformation because they don't realize that maybe it's not a right-of-way?
It's probably a sign of a misspent practice, but I have extensive records, not only on rights of way around the
Sure,
state,
understand.
but in particular Warren.
Sure.
So that is something, by the way, that a harbor management plan is supposed to focus on. Because one of the things that is a tenet for the CRMC and its statutes is to identify public rights of way and make sure, A, that they're properly marked, and also that they can be traversed. Now, I know there's one right of way in town in particular that somehow we missed it the last time. There were public hearings here in Warren, but it's a roadway that goes to the shore of the Kickamuit River, and it is not passable. There are funds available and grants available to make it so that first, those rights of way can be identified, and secondly, that they can be made passable by the public. CRMC in recent years has actually picked up the pace on identifying rights of way. I can tell you that at the end of this month, there'll be a public hearing in Portsmouth on 5 rights of way in that community. There's a whole bunch that are stacking up. There's an article in the Boston Globe about it today. So the agency will get to it, but that is something that should be in the harbor management plan. The question is the efficacy of what's there.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, the rights of way are identified in this document.
Correct, yes.
Yep. Yeah, we just want to make sure that they're identified correctly.
Yeah, and there's war fellows that got involved.
I absolutely think we need to go in this direction to vet this thing because, quite frankly, these allegations are pretty inflammatory. I mean, when you look at the language here, dangerously flawed and adverse impact, alarming actions to date, negatively impact a significant number of Warren residents. Additional problems are there's no clear accountability, there's no reasonable concern, unchecked investigative authority, unsupported maps and management plan evidence, willful exclusion, violations of open. I mean, this is a pretty big laundry list. I want to make sure that we're not, out
It's
of,
Mr. Massey's opinion.
well, and I'm just,
I mean,
yes, and I just, so
he's
it's.
creative. He
I just-
uses ignorant as a compliment. I mean, I don't know. He didn't mean it that way.
Hang on.
Well, here's the thing. I do have the background in documents of this nature. And I think the firm will be able to answer any of these questions, raise the serious points that were made. They'll be treated seriously. And we'll go through the document. We'll give you a report on it.
Well, that's what we want because we don't want litigation brought against the town as being charged here. So I know you'll do the thing for us.
Yeah, harbor management plan is very important for coastal communities. There's more components to them than just enforcement. There are economic issues that come with the harbor management plan. There's a whole bunch of things that need to be addressed. So, it's a serious document. It'll be treated seriously.
Is there anyone else that would like to speak to this in the public? I thought I saw somebody raising their hand back there. No?
I realize these allegations are serious. And clearly, I didn't think I would have time to go over each one point by point, but I will do that with the solicitor. In particular, there's a map that's included in there as historic rights of way, showing rights of way that are not. It's an unsigned, unsupported document. Allow information that's why we're ignored, that were sent to the commission. Statements that were made 15 years ago, the chairman of the commission told me on the right way that it was in my neighborhood, that I was wrong, it was public. And at that time, it was not public, and it is still not public. There's insufficient evidence. In that document, there's something that says CRMC recognized about one of the rights of way that they're hoping to have designated public. Well, it's not recognized. It's not public. So there's misinformation about this that is specific and alarming because it hasn't been allowed to be vetted by the public. Those people will be directly impacted. And this is throughout the town. I mean, I'm here, my neighborhood, they're reviewing this. This is not just one area of the town, this is throughout the town. And people have to understand that this has great consequences for them in terms of their property value, the quality of what they have, the amount of traffic. So, not just my opinion, there are facts here. In fact, some of the facts that are presented here are more opinion than what I'm giving. So that's important, and I think the public review is extremely important, as well as
Could you, the way I think this is going, could you forward your specific concerns to the solicitor? So as he reviews this document, he'll be looking at
Yes.
at focusing on the same points that you are
Yes.
to make sure that we get it right. And also, I don't think public input is a bad idea. I think we should do it as a council.
Not at all.
Yeah.
John, the process has always been, the Harbor Commission does the due diligence and the hard work. It comes to the council. It's passed off for legal review. Then we have a special council meeting to discuss publicly the changes and recommendations that can be made to that document, at which point, if it's voted on and approved, it's sent off. Mr. Massey is. First and then come back.
No.
I believe CRMC
No.
comes down. I mean, I met Mr. Cute 20 years ago, so I believe CRMC comes down and meets with the commission, addresses their concerns, input, guides them in the right direction, and then it goes to legal review, and then the town has a meeting for full disclosure and discussion and input, and then when it's satisfied,
Then we
it goes
have to
off.
approve it before it goes to CRMC.
Now, last time I met Mr. Cute, he told me I was wrong about the right of ways and the information that he found in the basement of the old CRMC building. But as of now, there are a number of rights of way that are not public there because there is insufficient evidence.
Well, the solicitor,
That information is not included in the
Okay.
document. And in fact, by including this historic document that's in the appendix, there's the possibility of creating in the mind of the public an incorrect apprehension of what in fact was a historic right of way and what isn't. I mean, you can pull information from anywhere and you can put in something without supporting it with evidence and an explanation. It allows whoever's looking at it to make their own assumptions. I want it to be specific.
Okay.
I want people to be responsible and accountable for what they do.
Actually, what Councilman Di Pasquale said is the process that CRMC uses for matters of this nature. What happens is the local harbor commissions will work with CRMC staff in developing the harbor management plan. At the time that the staff and the harbor management plan feels it's appropriate to send the document off to the town council, then that happens. And that happened here. But there is a process. The explanation was correct. So I'd ask you just to refer it to me. I'll get all those issues on so that you can put this document in a position to have a public hearing.
Okay. So basically, we were looking for a motion to forward all this information to the solicitor for his review. Upon finalization of his review, at that point, we can schedule a public hearing and before ratification.
I put that in the form of a
Yeah.
motion. We send off the harbor management plan for legal review to be brought back to the council.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Next, we have the discussion and action for the metal shark boat.
All right, so through the budget process, we've
The
Now, this is pretty extended lead time from when we order it to when we get it too, isn't it? Yeah. Yes.
Right now, some homeowners, we're on this because accessible.
I do have a question.
Absolutely.
President, I should know this, but is this replacing another? Oh,
Yeah, so at that time, the boat that we do have, we gotta be an engine on that boat. It still has some value, so.
Any other questions?
I just noticed something here, one of the line items, the shipping to be determined, the 6,500. I mean, is there a possibility that could go up? Down's okay. Yeah. Where's it being shipped from? Louisiana.
So it's not a.
I'll get it. Yep. And you're looking to get a trailer with,
Oh, that's too bad. That's too bad.
and are you transporting it on the trailer? Yep. So that they just need a vehicle to take it here. Yeah. What is it? A 21? 23? I'll go get it with my 350. No, that's it. Thank you.
I don't have any questions.
We have a motion to approve and let me sign it.
So moved.
And second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
In
Do
the
we need an
budgeted amount, in the budgeted
Yes,
amount,
it's underneath the budgeted amount.
$200,000.
And it's for the total of $196,411.22.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, next we have Recreation Director. It's gonna take her a little while to get up here, but
No, she's moving okay.
good evening. First on your is the concert series. It's some nice lineups here.
Yes, so these are our 9 concerts for this coming summer, starting July 10th and ending on Labor Day Sunday.
Any questions from the council?
No question.
We'd like to approve, do we need to approve this schedule? Yeah, to approve the,
Can we do them all in one vote?
I believe so. Yeah.
Motion to approve the concert series of 2022.
We have a motion.
Does that include the movies?
Is that included? Is that what you're asking for, or was it just the concerts?
The whole package.
So,
Well, the movies I don't necessarily need. I wanted you to be aware of movies, but you don't need to approve.
okay, so my motion is to approve the 2022 concert series
Second.
for $9,050.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Next, we have request for Purse Hills facility rental for SOAM's Heritage Day.
Yes, so this is an annual event. David Mead, who is here also, if you have any questions for them. This Song Heritage function, and they want to participate at the beach, at Purse Hill. And because it is a rental at Purse Hill, it does have to come in.
I've attended. I make a motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Have we worked out anything we need to work out with the police and fire for this event?
Not yet, so we will, sorry, Dave will get in touch with the police chief, to see if he needs a detail. He is, looking at having a food truck, so that is also something that we will need to get permitted. And, parking will be, he is parking at Blount. He's asked Buffalo to use their parking areas, so he can that facility for parking.
Joe, would you consider amending your motion pending police and fire?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Good luck. Last on your agenda, we have discussion and action regarding Burrs Hill Park structures. We were all at the meeting last Thursday. And I believe we got some very valuable input. And I think what would probably be appropriate at this time, which was actually suggested to me by Councilman Pasquale, would be to hold a public charrette with the updated, designs that the company was going to provide us with the cladding, possible locations. I think that public charrette should be hosted. It's a recreation department item. I think the rec department should host it, put on the presentation. I would like the planner to, because the planner is going to need to say what we can and cannot use these funds for, because there are some funds we can use it for, and some we are not. The rec department can explain the need and the proposed designs, and at that time, everybody can work out, and hopefully we can come to something that everybody can live with. There are certain restraints on it, what the grant money can be spent for, what it can't be spent for, and we need something that's going to function for the day camp. So I guess at this point, I would be looking for a motion.
I have a couple of
Absolutely.
questions and comments for the solicitor as well as the manager. I recommend the charrette. I think that public input on a public project is important. I do have a few questions that I would like the solicitor to square away with the state. I know that Ms. Mishu and Mr. Rulli looked into the renovations of the existing bathroom, but one of the ideas that came to mind is a state variance on the floodplain, if that's a possibility, because one of the things that stuck in my head over the time period between the meeting and now is I can't imagine how we can't build new bathrooms that won't be accessible to a flood. And if we could get a variance, I mean, it's going to be a properly decorated cement box.
Joe, my understanding on that was not so much the floodplain, it's the disturbance of the soil.
We
Because
can
if
have,
if we just put in post holes or minor anchors, whereas if we put in a full foundation.
well, but this was more of a non-discussion, but just a question for the solicitor. I was speaking in regards to the current restrooms that are there. So one of the questions the answers we received was that they would have to be 12 feet high because of the floodplain.
That was one issue. The other
Okay, I think it's on. So that was one issue. The primary issue is that the existing restrooms are not ADA accessible. So to make them ADA accessible would be a significant renovation, and it would require an addition to actually make those ADA compliant. And that was the primary concern. Obviously, there is a floodplain ordinance that if we do more than a 50% renovation to the building, now we would have to comply with the floodplain requirements, which requires either elevating to the elevation of 12 feet at that.
But isn't there a possibility of a variance?
I can speak to that. Slim to none.
Really?
Bristol almost lost their national flood insurance. Bristol almost lost their national flood insurance for granting so many variances to properties on the waterfront.
No, I mean from the municipality.
Correct. That would be governed by the town and the zoning board and the building board of appeals, which the zoning board, I believe in Warren sits is the same.
No, I don't mean for others. I meant for the municipality itself. Can't
Correct.
we petition the state for
No,
a
we-
restroom that's going to be a ground floor?
We would have to petition our own building board of appeals, which is the zoning board, because it's a building code issue. It's not really a zoning issue for the elevation going up. So you would need a variance from the state building code, which is very, very risky water to go running down, because if the flood insurance realizes you're allowing structures of yourself or others to be built below the base flood elevation, they may either raise your community's rates or they may disconnect your community completely and not let them participate in the flood insurance program. So that's why I'm saying slim to none that it would be approved, and it would be a good idea to get a variance to the building code. Anthony?
Yeah, I let me just say this. What I don't mind, because you're proposing to have a charrette on this, I don't mind flushing that issue out. So, I'll give you a memo on that, just to let you know what the procedure is. There is a procedure, but what your chances are.
Okay, and
I don't mind doing that in connection with, because the question's probably going to come up at the charrette. You're probably going to want a written answer for that. I don't mind doing that.
so my other,
I can be the Johnny on the spot.
good to know when we're in a pinch. My other question would be to have I know that you want the rec department, and I believe they should be, as well as the planner, but I was also hoping that Ms. Mishu could oversee the entire charrette, because I think that there are probably going to be multiple stations. And I think that her experience as a previous planner as well can add to this. And I wonder how you feel about that.
Yeah, no, I'd be happy to participate. I've already spoken with both Bob and Tara. There are a number of design related items that still, certainly are not set in stone at all with regard to size, location, appearance. There's a number of things where there's decision points still outstanding. So, I'd be happy to work with both of them to put together a public charrette where we can incorporate the public comment into the design that we bring back to the council for approval.
I have one last question. Can we find out, because it was said that the funding could potentially be in jeopardy if we don't have this done by June? I was hoping that we could petition the funders to understand that we are doing our due diligence and that we're not holding up the project, and that money can be set aside.
Yeah, so the grant agreement is valid through June of 2023.
Oh.
So ideally, we would have a design approval in place by June of this year to allow adequate time for construction, because all of our funds are supposed to be expended by June of 2023. Certainly, if we get closer to that June 2023 time period and we have not made decisions, then we certainly need to speak with DEM to make sure that we don't jeopardize our funding. But hopefully we can move this, expediently.
Maybe I just heard it wrong. I thought it was said that it needed to be done by this June.
I think that was just for lead times on construction, but I think as long as we're moving in a positive direction, we can work with that.
Well, I'd like to say that we should make sure this is well advertised because people obviously were seemingly blindsided. I see a lot of faces here tonight from that meeting last Thursday, which is great, but we want to make sure that we advertise this as much as possible and encourage those who can attend to submit their ideas, maybe in writing, so that we have everyone's opinion as much as possible.
Yeah, I envision the meeting as being a working session and asking, with full public participation. So the public will be asked to come with their opinions, with their preferences, and to incorporate those into the meeting. It won't be a presentation. It will be a working session.
It's a creative process.
Yeah, I think what we should do is, and actually one thing I learned about the Thursday night meeting is more people heard about it on social media than did in the local newspaper. So perhaps we should, throw our own little twit out there or whatever it is about the meeting, and that, that way other people will hear about it that way. And I don't know, do we have one of those accounts or?
So we don't have an official town account. Recreation has accounts, so we can certainly put it out through the recreation accounts. And then we can ask other community organizations to share and get the word out that way.
Since everybody's had a chance to speak, can I come back?
Okay, Joe.
Because of the communication note, I think it would be in our best interest down the road, any town project that's recommended in any neighborhood, we send out letters, not certified, but letters within a 500-foot circle. It's just an extra that we can do. It's not that expensive. And I think we would be in the best position to not have a room full of people saying we didn't hear about this. We can't be held, again, we can't look be looked at as wrong for not communicating if we do communicate. So I make that recommendation for not just this project, but anything, because unfortunately, I've sat through many events where the natural response is, we had the meeting, you should have known, you should have come. And people say, well, I didn't know. So I think if we get a letter in their mailbox, put it on social media, put it in the paper, then we can truly feel that we've done everything we can. And I don't think it's going to be that expensive for a non-certified letter. And whatever the expense is, it doesn't matter. It's spending $500,000, so we spend $300 on postage. I mean, I don't know. To me, it's just seems like the right thing to do. Anthony, could I put that in the form of a motion, or is that not on the agenda tonight?
Not on the agenda, needs to be put on.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions from the council? Okay, I think everybody in the audience knows what we're looking to do. I believe our directors and manager know what we're looking for. So keep your eyes and ears open and look to that, whatever it is, the internet. For look towards social media for when this will happen
And your mailboxes.
and your mailboxes. Well, no, don't say that yet, because we didn't do that. No,
Oh, yeah,
not your
we can't do that.
mailboxes. Don't look in your mailboxes. Look at the town's website and social media. Thank you. Okay.
Thanks.
Thank you, Tara.
No, we're not.
No, we don't need to vote on anything. Okay, next we have the Public Works Director. Discussion and action regarding the relocation of the funds for a DPW vehicle. Hello? You coming up? Come on, come up and say hi. Don't be bashful.
I can also help with this agenda item. I
Okay.
told the DPW director that I would address it with the council.
Okay,
So we've had a number of issues with the DPW foreman's truck. It can no longer be used for plowing. Do you have I'll let the director share some details on the truck that is no longer in use.
yeah, he is. He is.
So the current foreman truck is a 2005 Dodge Ram with 180,000 plus miles on it. Last year, they did a couple of repairs to the body. Speaking with the mechanics this week on it as well, it's not making it through another season. They won't pass it on an inspection. It needs a new transmission, needs a new body, needs a new plow. It's one of the older trucks we have, so we're looking to replace it. We do not need to go with a full truck. We looked at a truck originally, it's gonna cost between 56 and 60,000. I currently have a truck that I don't need. I'm not gonna be plowing. It's an F-250 diesel. I can just pass that along to the foreman. So we are looking to get an SUV, which is more economical for myself, for the driving around I do.
The plow truck is going to come out of the towing battery, the truck that you're driving right now.
The truck I have now is one of it has a plow, but it never
Yeah.
gets used.
It's never been used?
No, they don't use it because it's been the director's truck.
Okay.
And
Because the director prior to our director that just retired used to plow.
And he was using 2005 Dodge.
Yes.
With the contract, a non-union director is not supposed to be plowing. It would just result in agreements.
Any other questions? We have a motion.
So moved. Motion to reallocate capital for a new SUV of $42,000.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Next, we have the police chief. And this is for the approval of the Power Edge 750 server.
Good evening.
Good evening, Chief.
Yes, this was a project that we looked at in 1920. Due to COVID, we were unable to do it, but our server is old, outdated. So we're looking to replace it.
Did you say 1920? Did you mean
Fiscal year.
2020?
The server is our
This is the-
radio and computer system.
It's a server that all the information goes into and does backups, everything that comes to the police.
It's an intrinsic part of the operation.
Yes.
Yeah, motion to approve
We have a motion to approve.
Budgeted amount.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, chief. Okay, next we have tax assessor.
Good evening.
Hello, Savita.
So only if you have questions, there's a couple items. There's an abatement for $801.14 for the 2021 tax roll. And an addition for $203.78 for the 21.
Any question from the council?
Nobody I'm related to.
Nope.
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion to approve an abatement to the 21 tax roll of $801.14 and an addition to the 2021 tax roll of $203.78. We have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Next, we have the fire chief.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I was approached by a representative from Bristol County Water Authority, asked to install a small antenna on an existing tower at Station 6. This antenna would be used for their meter reading capabilities. They have trouble seeing the west side of the commute residents on the east side of Warren. And so this would give them the capabilities to get their signals and transmit it to their facility. So I have been working with the solicitor on an agreement. So what I'm looking for now is a tentative approval for this antenna with the solicitor.
Is there going to be any costs incurred by the town? How are they going to get electricity to it? What are they going to do?
I'm probably the last guy to ask that question to. Not sure of the mechanics, but I can tell you that for these towers, they're all designed for co-locations. And this would be one of them, would be just another antenna on this. And I'm not sure where the power source would be.
In the building, they would have a small server power unit that would send that signal. Very little electricity.
Okay.
Did they explain to you what other options they've been pursuing?
They've been driving around with a mobile unit trying to get a signal. And when they saw that tower on town property, they felt that was a good approach to try to get permission to use that location. You have small. So that was basically just them trying to find a location and seeing that.
Did the station vote on this? Did it come
No,
up at their meeting?
they came to me and I talked to our vendors for the existing equipment that's on the tower. They said there will not be any interference with the current line of sight that's up there and antenna.
My point is, do you think there'll be any opposition from the station since it is an individually run operation?
I don't think so. No, this tower would fall under.
They may not even notice it's there, is what you're
It
saying?
would be put in a position where we need really see it.
Any other questions?
Have you finalized the agreement yet?
No, there's two outstanding issues. One is to determine the agreement. The other one is the amount of the rent.
Yeah, so there is.
So we are gonna rent this. So we are renting space.
Payment in lieu of taxes, Joe.
I've never seen never seen a co-location
That didn't have some type
that
of,
didn't have some type of rent.
yes.
All right. Well, I guess that's the answer to who's gonna pay for it. They are.
Yeah, cover costs.
Yep, they'll cover any costs incurred by the town. Great.
Okay. And you'll come back to us,
Maybe a little more, yeah.
you'll come back to us next.
Yes.
Okay.
Solve all our financial woes.
Perfect. Motion to approve then.
We have a motion to approve,
I would amend my motion to approve pending on the solicitor's
review.
And recommendation.
Okay. And a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, next we have Planning and Community Development, RI APA Award for Excellence.
And we're
Market to Medicom.
We're going to end the night on a happy note.
Hey.
This past Friday, Kate and I accepted on behalf of the town the Rhode Island chapter of the American Planning Association Award for Excellence, Climate Change Impact Adaptation Award for our Market to Medicom plan.
So I have that here, and we're very proud to represent the town at that function.
Congratulations and good work.
The second item is, and there was an email in your packet.
Saw that.
We knew that we were getting a congressional directed spending or earmarked through Senator Reed. We started that actual process today. So we are getting the $2 million that's been set aside. It's not competitive. So that's a good thing. And just because I'm on a roll here, I just want to share with the council that in the last 30 days, I have brought in a total of $2,453,000 in grant.
Wonderful. Thank you. Good job.
Good job.
Thank you.
And did I see an email today that we were awarded some money for that, bring it outside as well?
$1,000 yesterday.
Yeah, good. Very good job. Good work. Okay. Yeah. That being said, do we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
We have a motion.
Second.
In a second, all in favor?
Aye.